All right, welcome to the pod. Josh, it's been a minute.
It's been a while, like the last administration.
Ah, dead. Silas.
Yeah, the last time we had a session here was too to the elections.
Yeah, and we have a new president that has stayed 1 year in office, and a lot of people are not very happy.
Sure.
So, what is happening in Nigeria today?
Yeah, a lot of Nigerians are not actually happy with what is happening, regarding some policies of the president and the government of the day. And so a lot of people were angry and they are heating up the streets to express themselves and, giving their own grievances and about happenings. I think that's just the happenings right now.
How did we get here?
Wow. All right, we actually come a long way, and it's all due to some policies of government that has brought us to where we are today. And some of these policies are long-term policies, and some of these policies are short-term policies, and then a lot of people are not still okay with the policies of government. And so I think that is what actually brought us to this point in view. It's just policies of government.
Bad policies?
No, I wouldn't say bad policies. I wouldn't say every policy, that is introduced by government is a very good policy. But it's just that, just like I said, there are long-term policies that would yield result, in years to come.
Don't you think any policy that will cause this level of hunger is bad?
Most of the countries that were able to develop today, that we're looking up to, they had to pass through this process to become, what they are today.
They were this hungry?
Of course, yeah, they are.
Wow.
That's just my view, actually, my opinion. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
For example?
No, when we go further for discussion, probably I will bring out some of these issues and all of those things.
Okay.
So you mean the problem has been from the government?
Mm-hmm.
What about the voters?
That's another one.
All right. You see, every government you are electing to power, you have the belief in that person, and that's why you go to vote. And so sometimes you might not really get the result you want, even if you have faith in those people. And then after voting them in office, you find out that that is not really what you actually voted for. And so I don't see that, from when people are just trying to, blame the voters on some of those issues. I don't really look at that that way, because even in America today, even people from the Democrats, some of them are not really happy with Joe Biden, but they have faith in him. They voted in him, but today they felt he's not giving them what they want. And so sometimes it is not about, jarring the polls and all of those things. It's after then, if that person is really, tilting toward what you want. So for me, it's just government, and I don't really blame, the voters as such.
Well, as long as I can remember, I think from 2003 to this moment, voters have always been complaining like, we voted the wrong person.
Yeah.
That's after election. During administration, voters usually complain and they learn their lessons. Moving forward, they used to learn their lessons.
Yeah.
And then they also fall for the same kind of issue. Is there a way that voters can actually streamline and vote for the quality candidate?
Yeah. For me, actually, yeah. There's the way people should look at, because if you see, the election, the 2023 general election, even the three top candidates, all of them had very good manifestos. They came with clear manifestos. Even if you're talking about the issue of subsidy, all the three candidates campaigned with subsidy. They all said they were going to remove subsidy. So the problem we're having today is the issue of what is the subsidy. Because the removal of subsidy, it's what is actually, bringing all of those things. So all of them actually campaign on that basis. We're going to remove subsidy. So this one came, he removed subsidy. What if Obi came, he removed, or Atiku came and...
Well, looking at how the issue of subsidy removal happened in this administration, like on his first day in office.
Okay, now Tinubu did not remove subsidy. Do you know that?
What happened? What really happened?
Okay, all right. Tinubu just announced subsidy, but he didn't remove subsidy.
But the effect started from that moment.
It started from Tinubu was sworn in on the 29th of May.
Mm-hmm.
Subsidy will stop on the 4th of June, because in the 2023 budget, Buhari removed subsidy because he did not include, subsidy, continuous payment of subsidy in the 2023 budget. And subsidy is meant to stop on the 4th of June, and Tinubu came 29th of May. I hope you understand the concept, or that actually
I'm getting
you got in the point. So it means Tinubu came when already subsidy has not been captured in the budget. But then, what I expected the president to have done at that point in time was, when you see the issue of removal of subsidy, you have to put in measures. You see, that is one. You have to put in measures that will ameliorate, the removal of subsidy. What he should have done is that when he came in, because when he came in, the assembly was not inaugurated yet. You don't have the National Assembly yet. It was later when the National Assembly was inaugurated. What he should have done was to, when the assembly is inaugurated, you send in a supplementary budget to include payment of subsidy for the 2023 budget. Continuous payment of, it will give you more time, these 6 months remaining, to bring in all these palliative measures that will cushion the effect of the removal of subsidy. Then going forward by 2024 budget, you remove subsidy. That is where the error actually came in. You understand?
Yeah.
So it was a kind of, Buhari did not put in measures when he was not capturing the continuous payment of subsidy. And then when Tinubu came, he thought on that line. So first of all, palliative measures should be put in place before the removal of subsidy. You see, that is where the problem
transition.
Yes, that is why the problem actually came in. So,
you see, he was not prepared.
No. It was just, yeah, I would say that it was hasty for him to have ruled on that, or to have toyed, on that level of which, the former president, left. That is why I said he should have done what we call the supplementary budget.
Yeah.
Sorry, they are beginning to call.
We've not even gone far.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Who is on the line? Where are you calling from?
Right. My name is Kenania.
Kenny.
Or you can call me Kenny. I'm calling from Lagos.
You're calling from Lagos. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Have you been out to protest?
No.
Why?
There's no protest going on in my vicinity here. In some places they are protesting small, but in my area here, there's no protest.
Where is your area, please?
Okay, I'm in Ikeja.
Oh, you're in Ikeja.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it today? They are not protesting today, or they have not been on the street even yesterday?
They have not been on the street even yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your contribution?
Well, my contribution is that I think the problem of this bad governance that we're having, I think we created it. Like the masses are the ones creating all these problems. We are the ones creating the problems to ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, we know definitely well that this leader has failed in some aspects, even in their state. But we go ahead due to our sentiments, maybe religious sentiment or maybe tribalism, we will go ahead and vote for them. And at the end, we'll be the one crying and saying that this leader is putting us under agony, this and that. And after this leader fails, they will still bring another leader that we know that we know are on the same line, we still go ahead and vote for them. So we the masses are the ones creating problems to ourselves. So the thing is, the earlier we wake up and discover that we are creating these problems, we are the one to solve it, the better for us. Else we will still going on the same cycle. So I think we should wake up. Like we the masses should wake up. It's high time we wake up.
Okay, Mr. Kenny. So,
Yeah.
in your own belief, do you think
Yeah.
the president should resign, or what do you think moving forward?
I don't think the president should resign because the truth is the president resigning will cause more chaos to the country than what is already on ground. So I think the better thing here is the president should work on how to ease our problems. You know, we have the biggest problem we are facing in this country currently now is the issue of importation. When I went to the market, the last time I went to the market, I bought my camera 150K. When I went to the market to ask for the price again, they said the camera is now 450K. I said, what the hell? What's the problem? They said the price they pay now in clearing goods is times three.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's times three, not even times two. It's times three of what they used to pay before. So you see, all these government policies is really affecting all those producers of goods and services. So the government should work
Okay,
on some of the policies so that we the poor masses can benefit from it.
okay. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Mr. Kenny. Do have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. You're
Thanks for
welcome.
calling. Mr. Silas, can you react to what Mr. Kenny was saying?
Of course,
So,
I really agree to him to some extent, actually, because
mm,
he talked about the mercies, and that was what we started this discussion with. And then, just like I said, um, people should vote based on competency and not based on religious or tribal inclinations,
sentiments.
sentiments, all of those things, and they should look at the people, devoid of party lines. And that is why if you go to like in Bauchi here, the 2019 election, you could see what happened. APC, they voted in the presidential election. They voted PDP in the gubernatorial election. Our state PRP in the House of Representatives, and the NNPP in the state assembly here in Bauchi. And so it means, just to tell you, that people voted based on people they believe in, not because of the party, not because of anything. And so if people begin to think about those things, begin to tour about these lines, and I think we're going to have a significant progress henceforward, and then choosing leaders who would come to governance. And then he talked about some policies of government, of course, which I really agree with him. The issue of the floating of the dollar, which is one of those issues that's really really affecting market. When it has to do with the importation of some goods from outside, because the floating of the dollar, the exchange rate now is above 1,500 naira.
Yeah.
So all of those things are a serious concern, because majorly we are, importers. We import most of the things into Nigeria, and so definitely it will affect the market as well. So if government will look at these issues holistically and then try as much as possible. I know I so much have faith in the current CBN governor, Cardoso. He's really, really doing well, trying to stabilize, the naira and the dollar rates. It's just that things are really, 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 really complicated for him. But I've been following what he has been doing for a long time and then trying to see that he stabilizes the naira. But the issue of, all of these things is a global stuff. Anywhere you go to, the issues of inflation, a lot of these things is global. And so, but there's a way government would do at the local level to ensure that all of those things are reduced minimally.
Yeah, that's right. Going back to our discussion, like the earlier discussion we were having, with regards to the president's policy on fuel subsidy. Looking back at the top 3 candidates during the election, do you think the other 2 candidates would have done better when it comes to removal of subsidy?
Subsidy. Well, you can never tell. That's what I said. Sometimes you cannot tell people until they come into government. You see, just like I said, all of them campaigned in the basis of full subsidy. Peter Obi and Atiku, all of them, talk about subsidy, they are really going to remove subsidy because there is no need for it. Just, little, bunch of people who are benefiting from subsidy. But just like I said, implementation of some policies is the problem. You understand? So I wouldn't say if they would have performed better than the way we are. Probably they would have done even worse than what we're experiencing today.
Exactly.
And then
what I'm saying
probably
is
they would have done better than what we're experiencing today.
in terms of the transition from subsidy to removal of subsidy. That's where the question is going to.
Yeah, that's what I said. All of them, all these people have not come out to criticize the removal of subsidy. All they are saying the government.
They all campaigned on removal of subsidy.
Now, just like I'm talking to you, they are opposition. And did you hear any of them coming out to say, because you remove subsidy is why we're having these problems? All of them are just tilting toward address hunger, address this, but none of them are coming out to criticize the removal of subsidy by the president. So it means probably they would have done the same thing.
Yeah,
but probably the approach they would have used would be a different thing than what we're experiencing today. And that is why I said it was haste. The issue of the removal was a haste. And then, in my own opinion, the president should have done what we call a supplementary budget so that it will capture the payment of subsidy till the 2024 budget. That's when you would have put in place, measures that will really, cushion the effect. That's my point.
Okay. Well pointed. There is this popular Hausa saying, there is no bad leader, but bad cabinet.
Bad cabinet, yeah.
Yeah. Could this be one of the reasons why we're having issues in Nigeria, especially in this administration?
It's one of these reasons. Now, I understand, sometimes, you see, the kind of politics we play in Africa is so complicated because people who campaign for government, they campaign. So it's just like a payback to them. You understand? The English I want to use just escaped me now. You understand?
Payback.
Yes, it's just like
they're remitting.
There's this words that it just escapes now. But that's just the truth. So you see, most of the cabinet of the president, these are people like the Hausas here, Asaka Musugo. I can't really, the words, kept escaping from.
So it's all like a thank you package.
Yes.
Like a reward.
Yeah, just like rewarding them for, supporting you, to bringing in the government.
Even if they are not competent.
You understand. That is where we're having this problem. And so, if you don't carry them along, they would definitely deal with you. Now, let's see what is happening. El Rufai was booted out. He was a nominee and he was later removed. And today he was antagonizing. He was against the government. And he was even working on a third force, against 2027 to unseat the president just because of that. So imagine if all of these people in the cabinet, most of these people in the cabinet were not included in governance, what would have happened? They would have made it so bad, so ungovernable for the president.
Yeah.
But then, as a leader, you need to, carry the bull by the horn. There was a statement the president said. He said nobody bankrolled him. He used his own money to fund his campaigns. Nobody gave him money to do all of those things. If you really believe in that, one thing you should have done is keep these people aside. Just keep them aside. There's a way you reward these people. You understand? There's a way they reward, people in governance, not necessarily bringing in them to governance. Just look at most of them were governors, from
way back.
You understand? They are back. They are bringing them back to governance. You understand? So I don't really think the world in this 21st century, and then, the kind of society we're living now, they can be able to fit into and then understand the kind of system Nigeria or the world is actually operating on. So for me, the cabinet is one of the problem of the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If he would do away with this cabinet, bring in other people, bring in fresh people with fresh ideas to work with him, I think all of these issues would not be, where we are today. But, and on the way that way around, he really tried bringing in young people in the other side of governance. But the key cabinet, the key offices, key positions of government is just like a reward to friends, associates and people who, helped him during campaigns. And that shouldn't be like that. So that is one of those issues. And that's one of those problems, actually, we are facing with this government. But I hope that the president, probably he had planned, maybe they will just stay for 1 and something years, do away with them, bring fresh people, and then you continue with your work. So let's hope and see how it's going to, change.
I have seen somewhere people say he has too many ministers. Do you agree with that? And a lot of them are not necessarily important.
Well,
he has 46.
46 ministers. I don't think, it's bad idea.
46 ministers.
For those ministers. But what we are more concerned about is the cost of governance, the cost of funding those ministers. You understand? You can, if you like, have 200 ministers, but cut governance.
Cost of governance.
Cost of governance is the real problem. So if there's going to be, if they're going to cut the cost of governance, you can have as many as you wish. At least they are advisories. These are people that will help you run government. You understand? Yes, but I think the concerns of Nigerians is not how many ministers he has, but the cost of managing those ministers or those offices is the concerns of Nigerians. And then the president needs to look at that as well.
Okay. Another angle is a lot of people have been coming for the president. But we're all aware that we have 36 governors.
Governors, yeah.
And the FCT ministers. What about them?
Good. It's a very good question. A lot of people are really mistaken. Though the president is the head of government. You understand? So he should be held accountable for any other thing. But do you know that before the coming of President Tinubu, governors, usually get state and local governments usually allocations is roughly between 600 and 700 billion. And today the president is giving them more than 1 trillion. More than 1 trillion.
Yeah.
For local government, states, and then, federal government, the sharing formula for the federal allocation. But why is it that people are not actually talking about those governors? Of course, he increased this money. You understand? To them. So what is the problem? There are states that cannot pay the 30,000 minimum wage. Why? Up to today. There are states that have not done recruitment. You understand? They have not done new recruitment of, civil servants in their states. Yet they are collecting these billions of naira. What are they doing with it? There are states you go to, they don't pay the 30,000 minimum wage. They don't do people-oriented projects. They don't employ, people in government. What are they really doing? So it's high time that, I'm not saying we should not hold the president to account. No, we should do that. He's the president. But people should begin to look at those governors as well.
Yeah.
They should begin to look at those governors. What are they doing with the allocation they are giving them, the billions they are giving them? You understand?
Yeah.
You did not recruit civil servants in your state.
Some of them are still owing.
They're still owing. Billions of nairas of gratuities are being owed in their states. They have not paid. Some states are not even, consistent with the payment of salaries. What is the problem? So why are we single-handedly bringing out the president? I'm not standing in for the president. Please, People should mind that. Viewers should mind that. Please, I'm not standing in for the president.
Okay.
But we're saying the basics. That's just the truth. We are allowing these governors to while away while we are doing all of those things. Now we are talking about the assembly. The assembly has been pocketed by the governors. They don't even do anything. You understand? They are pocketed by the governors. The local government level has been bastardized to a level whereby, thank God, with the Supreme Court ruling, at least it will help. Though I know governor must find a way out to regarding the Supreme Court judgment on local government. See, look back to after when we came back from democracy from 2000 to 2007. Go and see most of the projects you see in the local government were done by local government chairmen. Go and see some of these roads, the culvert, schools, maternity, primary healthcare centers were all constructed and built by local government chairman. Today, a local government chairman cannot build a single block of classroom. Because why? The money comes, is a joint account. So because they are not elected, they are appointed as caretaker committee chairman. It is what the governors give them that they will work with. So sometimes they just give them, running cost of office, and that's all.
How much do local government areas get from state governments?
It depends. It depends on the states.
It will depend on the local government.
It depends on the state governors. You understand?
But roughly.
No, I cannot tell you that. I cannot tell you that. But the truth here is that, it's not being justified. And that is why, the Attorney General had to go to the Supreme Court, you understand, to push this from the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled that they're going to have their own separate account. It's not more going to be a joint account with the state governors. They will have their money directly in their account, local government chairman. And then every governor must ensure that he conducts local government election. Though I know governors will abuse that because governors determines who becomes the local government chairman, even in an election or whatever. So he decides that. So some people, I know a lot of people are saying, okay, local government will have a site of relief. Do you know that a local government chairman can be impeached? And who impeaches the local government chairman are the councillors.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
All right, my name is Isaac Levy, as many call me, or my parents call me.
Mr. Levy.
We are seriously missing you here.
I'm really enjoying the
my very good friend. How is Nigeria?
Mr. Levy. You're of Nigeria. Am I the custodian of Nigeria?
and I believe that you have a lot to say.
Actually,
that's why that's why I threw the question like that. How is Nigeria?
Actually, what I have to say, I don't know whether if I see them, I might still be in my house. I might be picked up for treason. Actually,
no. Say it in a way that you will still remain in your house. Please.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of making it fun. But actually, you people are doing great justice to this topic. I really love the contributions from all of you. Mr. Silas is doing well. He has been up and doing in his analysis, and he's somebody that I can vouch for, that can actually talk in the right frame of mind for right policies to be kicked in place. And I really appreciate Josh Garnier and you as well. The enlightenment is superb. Actually, I cannot say you people are not doing great. You people are doing a great job. I really appreciate this platform.
Thank you. When can we have you in the studio? Before you go ahead.
Honestly, I'll create time one of these days. Once you people invite me, I'll come around as well.
All right. So Nigerians have been protesting about bad governance. They have been protesting. They are hungry. And a lot of things have been happening over the past 1 year. How do you react to that?
Yes, actually, I can say that a lot has been happening. If you say a lot has not been happening, then you're not being sincere to yourself and to Nigerians as well. Mr. Silas raised some very, very pertinent issues which I listened to, and I quite agree with most of the things he said. He said about benevolence, lack of benevolence from governors, how they squander state resources, nobody checkmates them, no, the state house of assemblies, they've become like a foothold of state governors across the 36 states. The last time there was any employment was more than 15 years ago. 10 years, 8 years ago, 2015 or so in some states, including about here, directly from state government. So the unemployment rate has been happening due to the absence of governance at the grassroots level, from local government to the state level, which everybody quite agree with that, except you want to be economical with the truth. Then another
that wouldn't be nice.
Yes, another issue which I feel I have some little bit contrary view about is that actually Nigeria's government is more like a unitary system than the federalism. We call it a federal republic, but in reality, it's not a federal republic. There is no federalism here. It's a unitary system imposed by the military, and they call it federal. So whatsoever you have is being determined by the center. So any policy that the federal government makes affects the states and the local government. So Mr. President got it so many wrong because one, state don't fix monetary policies. It's done by the federal government. States and local government don't fix exchange rates. It's still done by the federal government. Yes. Including interest rate is still done by the federal government. So when you look at all these indices, it affects everybody. So when you don't get the right policy, it's going to affect the private sector, including people who are not part of the government. So the president cannot just wake up one day verbally and say subsidy is gone without even going to the office. So it affects everybody, whether you're in APC, whether you're in PDP, whether you're a Christian, whether you're atheist, whether you're everybody. So you need to have a template. Now we all agree. We all agree that how we were, it wasn't funny. That debt servicing surpasses revenue under Buhari. Can you imagine that?
It's true.
So our debt servicing surpassed revenue. So you cannot continue with this thing. So you cannot as well overnight set you want to float the naira against the dollar. It's like asking me now with my son to fight, my little boy. Doesn't work. Like dollar and naira, you have to defend it. What the previous administrations of Jonathan, Yar'Adua, and Obasanjo were doing is that they had to defend the naira against dollar and pound. That's why it was between 150 to 100 and what of you. So government were the ones sourcing out dollar to give out to importers. You can't just tell importers to go and source out dollar while holding it. So it's going to skyrocket. Do you understand?
Yeah, true.
So the obvious reality is that people have been suppressed to the wall. You can't even listen to anybody that is hungry. So if this protest was to be about increase in electricity tariff, increase in school fees and what of you, it's going to be easy to tame. But protest against hunger is one of the most difficult thing to tame because you don't know where it's going to end. You don't know where it's going to end. So to make it short, we have been talking about the problems. What are the possible solutions? Personally, as a person now, I feel they should go back to the era of Goodluck Jonathan, whereby they subsidize agrochemicals.
Good.
If as a government, when you subsidize agrochemicals, selling it at a cheaper rate, food prices will go down.
Definitely.
Not everybody must be a peasant farmer. You can't tell everybody to go to farm. That's actual. You have to have a mechanized system of farming because everything you're going to do in this life boils down to food.
True.
When food is expensive, Okada man will increase his price for services. When food is expensive, a carpenter will do that. A mechanic will do that. So you have a value chain of addition or hike in prices. So when you have a value chain in a negative indices. You know what that one means?
Serious problem.
We become poorer and poorer and poorer day by day. So these are some of the solutions.
Wow.
Agrochemicals, those includes fertilizer and what have you. Diesel now is sold for 1,500 naira, and companies are powered by diesel. So until diesel goes down, then you're talking about what do you call it? Renewable energy source, green wall project, and what have you.
Yeah.
And gases are expensive, so people will definitely go and cut trees.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, our president went for climate change, and a climate change activity is using firewood in his house because of reality.
wow. So, thank you, Mr. Mr. Isaac. There's a lot of people on the line that also want to
if you allow
contribute.
Mr. Isaac now, he would continue to talk, and
That's why I say we need to find a day.
Yeah, to come and talk about some of these policies.
To have it come over.
I learned that Madam's birthday is today, so just take your time and be with her.
Happy birthday to you guys.
Thank you so much. I'll find time to be in the studio.
Yeah,
Actually, I really
definitely.
enjoyed the discussion. I've been following. I really appreciate all of you.
Thank you very much,
sir.
We have other calls coming in.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Now, he talked about something very important, which I was actually even coming to that. You see, the problem actually started from the Buhari administration.
Yeah.
You understand? Tinubu inherited a lot of problems. You see, one of those issues is, why would the president,
We have another call.
All right, let's get this call and then we'll talk.
Hello, good morning. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Bremo Jeezy. I'm coming from Rafin Zulfi.
Jeezy.
Dunya.
Best Jeezy in the dunya.
I saw Wahala Fans on Chile the Dunia because of bad government. Bad government is on Chile the Dunia.
How about that?
What is happening, Mr. Bremo?
About plenty things are happening in fact. Kasan Nigerian number zuba sai mu za mu sa da Hausa ne fa saboda yanzu an fi karfin turanci. Ai ta fawa gaskiya. Tun da shi ma baya yiwuwa.
Kai, wow.
I can able to see my boss Silas and really gaskiya you guys are doing well. Kun ai daga ganin camera ma yanzu ba clarity kamar da Yusuf. Bad government na ga audio ma da gari ya zo ne to bad government ya na affecting namu gaskiya.
No be lie.
Abun ya taba ko ina kenan.
Abun ya taba ko ina gaskiya.
Were you out to protest?
Gaskiya no. I'm not out and I have my reasons.
All right, let's get to hear your reasons.
Okay, my reason is most of the people are not in support of these protests, and I don't even know the reason. Or is it because of what is happening, which is going on in the state, and support the Bauchi state and Azaman Lafia, and Najanche, somebody to the governor Yasaka to protest, and then the securities. Sorry,
what do you mean by somebody to be governor?
Somebody to the governor, but somewhere even is soon.
Oh, okay, like an aide.
Yeah.
Okay.
So something DG ne ko me ne ban san abun bane. Sai yasa kai naji maganan sama ne.
SSG, Secretary to the State Government.
Yeah, Secretary to the Government.
Ya fito ya ce kar ayi zanga.
Okay. Let me clear that let me clear it. Well, are you ready? All right. Okay. The reason why he had that press conference was to debunk a rumor. You understand? And then because there was this rumor going around that the state was going to shut down all primary healthcare centers because of the protest. So it was he was denying that assertion that Bauchi State is not going to close anywhere because of any protest, because the people of Bauchi are law abiding and there will be no any protest, and that is what he said.
Okay, so that's the reason why the security and everything are outside and stopping people from coming out.
No. Security is for the federal government. It's the IG that deployed security all over the country.
Okay, so is the reason why from this polygate up to the Chaparran about there is a lot of security, but if you look at inside town around this Emir Palace and the rest, people came out to protest. Well, I don't know. Maybe the reason why this yellow act is most of the people they are not able to go out to protest is because of the security they saw. And you cannot just come out and risk your life for something that nobody support. Most of the people in this state did not support the
The
protest,
protest.
especially the PDP people, and I expect them because it's the APC that they are ruling. But forget about the mentioning party. The hardship is for everybody.
Yeah.
People are really suffering.
Mm.
So, and I think Yakamata that Chamba Mutani really it's our right to go out and protest because the way Mr. A is buying things in the market is the same thing Mr. B is buying things in the market.
All right.
So
True. True.
I know that up to now the protests keep going on actually for the 10 days, Nico. So there are still rooms for people to still come out and protest.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bremo.
Okay. Are we going to suspend the calls for a long time so that we have before we continue picking some calls? I think that would be much more better.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jeezy. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Jeezy has made a lot of insinuations out there. You see. Okay, let me just conclude what I was saying before the call came in about some of these policies of government. One is that, you see, when the Buhari administration came, you close borders, there were no importation of goods and services, and then you allow export of, food items and other, essentials we have in the country. And then Libby said something very important, which, I was actually coming to that, because when you're going to, you're going to stop importation, you have to subsidize, farming, inputs. Just like he said, everybody will get, like you get, the farming implement, at a low cost, the fertilizer, the herbicide, and all of these things. If you're going to have them, at a subsidized rate, like a lot of people will go to farm, you understand, and then have something to sustain themselves with. We don't have to face all of this problem, but because of some of these policies, and then we find ourselves.
Sorry, we don't have very much time, so let's get as much reactions as we can. Hello, good morning. What is your name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Matthew Victor, CEO Roadside Bar.
This one where your voice no come out. You sure of this CEO talk so?
No chop chicken now this morning.
No, na Alojim.
Welcome to the show.
Well done. I want to commend your effort and your contribution. I've been following you people online since.
Oh.
And I feel I need to make contribution when it comes to this issue.
Yeah. Okay.
Already we have lost it in this country.
One.
And that is one. Because anywhere we find thinking the Alpha and Omega is only God that will do it. We keep on praying.
Yeah.
But when we talk about end the bad government, are we ready for it?
Another one.
That is one issue we should ask ourselves with the young people. They have called out for people to come out to protest. You can see what we are seeing from other states.
Yes.
Even our own state, Bauchi. Instead of us to go and voice out our mind, we are after looting people property, which they suffer to earn it. So how can you end the bad government when you yourself, you have not earned your own mind? That is one. Then secondly, we are talking about this government as if me and you happen to be in that position, what changes can we bring? And that is why I like this slogan that said, change begins with me. How are we going to do it? We can see the cost of living now from Angwangas to Winti. You spend 400 naira.
Sometimes more.
All right. To go to Winti and come. And maybe you end up collecting salary of 70,000 in a month. Now, do 500. Let's say going and coming 1,000 per day. Times 30 days or 26 working days. Let's exclude Sunday out of it.
26.
You're talking about 26,000 naira.
Yeah.
Now, 70,000 minus 26. How much are you going to buy a recharge card, data, feed your family? So automatically, the government are not after the masses. We can hear the word of our able Senate president that we should go and do that. He will be in his house enjoy. That should say that they don't even care about us. So it's just for us to wake up. Let's have a what we call sensitization or post-call analysis of each of us coming together, telling ourselves, look, end bad government does not mean we should go and loot. You and I may accept it because we are learned. You and I may see, but what are we saying from the other side who the population is more than us?
Hmm.
So how can we do it? I feel they should start it from the religious leaders. It's not all about bring money, sow seed. Let us start talking to our young people and even the age to look at it. This is how to go about it, and it will go well. That is just my humble contribution.
All
Thank
right.
you very much, Mr. Matthew. We really appreciate your contributions.
All right. He talked about a lot of things, and we need to change our mindset when we issue of, coming out to tell government our grievances. Now, you see, the issue of the protest. Let's get back to the issue of the protest and then calling on government to act, because you see, government only understands only one language from the citizens, and it is what? The protest. Now, just check it out. From the moment where the issue of protest began gaining momentum, you see the kind of measures government is really putting on the ground, from one meetings to another, calling stakeholders, doing this up and down to ensure that, it did not really hold. It's because we have not really understand, the power we have, to call on government attention to act accordingly. And the power is to come out to protest, because that's the only language the government listens or understands.
Yeah.
That is why the issue of all of those things. But then, how genuinely are we coming out to tell government that enough is enough? How genuinely are we coming out to tell government that this is what we are going through? You understand? Now, I have seen a lot of. I was with my television throughout. And a lot of people who have been calling for this protest were nowhere to be found, even on the day of the protest. Where are they? You understand? Where are they? And then, if you are going to organize a protest, you must have a leadership to direct people on how to do. It's because it was faceless. There were no leaders of this protest. People do the way they like. That is where we had these destructions of happenings.
Well, a lot of people argue that there are people behind the protest, there are leaders behind the protest, but they don't want to come out and say they are the leaders because of the fear of what the government will do afterwards.
Good.
Case study of answers.
Yes.
Okay, I understand this point. But then what we're saying here is that even as it was hidden, you could do this direction in a hidden form. Because, see, let me tell you, you see why we're having these kind of issues, why we're having all these issues. I know a lot of people have been accusing police or harassing, all of those things and all of these issues. But for me as a journalist, I don't react to things quickly based on how people look at things, because the way you look at things might be different with the way we look at things. Because first of all, we have to analyze. We have to be neutral. We have to be balanced. We have to be fair. We look at the two sides of the coins before we make reactions on some issues. Now, if you look at the Constitution of Nigeria, gives everybody the right, to protest. When you look at Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution, and all the subsections says it gives every Nigerian the right to
Protest.
to protest, to belong to any other thing. But, there are a lot to read. Now, if you look at this, they said, the provision guarantees Nigerians the right to organize and participate in peaceful protests. However, these rights are not absolute and can be subject to legal restrictions. The government can impose limitations in the interest and public order, public safety, or national security. It means the law has given you the right to protest, but look at the same sections again, coming out to say it can be limited to all of these things. But how many people really understand some of those things? That is why if you go to Lagos, if you go to Abuja, there was court order to restricted areas where this protest should take place. And so, based on that, if you go contrary to that, of course, you are looking for trouble. People should understand that. And I kept on saying, if you have the right to protest, do not block routes for other people to movement because you are infringing on other people's right to free movement. Definitely the law enforcement agency will not condone that because you want your right to be protected and you are denying other people's right. So it's as simple as anything. People should understand the basics of protest before they should go into it. Understand the dynamics. Understand the constitutional, dynamics that gives you the right to protest, and then where your limitations can stop. I hope people should understand these things. And that is where we're having all these issues of fracas with the police all the times and whatever. Now, you see, the only thing you see people sharing videos and is when the police are attacking. But they are not going to post your videos on when the people are attacking the police.
And when they are looting too.
When they are looting all of those things. You understand? It's as simple as that. Because I believe there's no any saying. Because I know how the IG have been emphasizing, and all the commissioners of police has been emphasizing, do not attack those protesters, allow them. But if they attack you, it is what we call self-defense. They have the right to defend themselves as well. And if it's been hijacked by some hoodlums, what do? You disperse them. The law has given you that right. But why are people not understanding that? I've seen where the block road, the police came, calmly telling them, please, do not block road. Allow people to move. You can do your protest. We're not going to touch you. They said no. They started stoning the police. What do you expect the police should do? Allow them? Of course, they have to retort back. So people should understand. People should understand that we have right. We have our right to protest, but then we should not infringe on other people's rights as well, and then ensure that it is peaceful. So that is where the problem is. So you see, the police will allow people to begin to loot shops, and then they will not disperse them with tear gas and all of those things. And they said, okay, there's a court order. Do not follow this road. Do not come to this place. That is the constitution. It has given them that right to stop you from, coming to this place because there's a constitutional order to all of those things. I know a lot of people might not really understand what I'm saying and might not really like what I'm saying, but that is just the truth. And that's the basics. Bremo talks about policemen, harassment. Nobody has come and then police has denied them. They say, go back. The police are just there to maintain law and order, to ensure that everything is peaceful. You understand? I've seen places where the police are even escorting the protesters. It was peaceful. It was calm. They ended the first day. There was nothing. The police were there with them. I could see videos where police are even, they came with water in their cars and they are giving the protesters water to drink. So why is it not trending?
Yeah, I've seen a video too where policemen were eating and then they have some for people to eat and the protesters they rush the food.
all of those things. Okay.
What do you expect? People are hungry. But I've said this awareness about people coming out to protest from on the 1st of August has been out there for a minute, and the government have seen it. Why can't we have our government stop the protest from happening by listening to these people and maybe start answering some of their requests? Why do we have to protest? Why do we have to get to this point where people will go out and start looting, start attacking the police have to retaliate, and then we have loss of lives at the end of the day? Why do we have to do that?
All right. Now, let me quickly, talk about this. I know he would have probably just want to have an objection with what I said. But then,
it's not an objection.
All right. You see, right from the beginning, when the issue of this protest started, what government said, please, we want to know who are those people, because probably they have identified that there's a problem, and that is why they're calling for this protest. Okay. Yeah. Let's know who you are so that we interface with you. What is the problem? How do we solve these problems? They were not there. Of course, I understand that for safety reasons and all of this things, just like you've mentioned.
Yeah.
Then we went on further. Now the government began engaging a lot of, policies of government. One of these policies we have, government waiving, tax on importation of rice and wheat in the country. You understand? And it will last for about 4 months till January next year, where there will be free importation of rice and wheat into Nigeria, and that will really reduce some of those things. Then secondly, there's the NEL fund, the education loan fund for students, student loan fund, where loan will be given out
Well,
to
are you
students.
sure student will be able to access that loan?
Yeah, they have disbursed about
that means student will have to apply.
Yeah, they have applied. About 22,000 students have applied, and they have even started disbursement as of on Tuesday. The news on Tuesday is like they disbursed to over 10,000 or so students. About 600 and something billion naira have been disbursed to some of the students, and it will continue, headward. And so these are other issues. The Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, where youth will be given, who have registered business, will be given this money and loan to, do their business. These are measures that government are actually bringing. We have the 70,000 minimum wage that was signed by the president. We have the loan for startup for other people who wants to do, business, give them startup to do business and all of those things. We have, the repairs of the Dangote refinery and the Port Harcourt refinery, where it's built to start working by December, and we've seen the Dangote refinery, which
is a story for another day.
No, I'm just trying to tell you. I'm just trying to tell you some of these measures. The government has been bringing now. Now they are going to sell crude to Dangote in naira, not in dollar anymore.
Yeah,
you understand?
That's a welcome development.
A welcome development. There are a lot of policies of government, that government are bringing in. What I expected that the process should, of course. I'm not saying they shouldn't protest, actually. The protest is good. Government have really understood that, yes, these Nigerians really meant what they are trying to do. But they should have limited this to 2-3 days, shelve the protest, and allow government, since government have come out to plead on several times, please shelve in your protest. We are rolling out this, we are doing this, we are coming up with some of these programs, we are doing this. Some of them are things that they are not just immediate time effect. They are things that, it will take time to, yield some of this result. So I would have, suggested that they give government more time, because the government is just barely a year in office. Give it more time, some few months, to see some of these policies that government are bringing and the ones they have brought in, to see how it's going to be fruitful. Then we see the next line of action.
So, but one would say, all of these things government are doing, the grants or the loans or the to students and to startups and others, would say Nigerian factor always come into play in this thing. So people at the grassroots, like people that are
really needed,
really in need, like poor people, would say these are things that they will not have access to, because they don't know anybody that is going to help facilitate. And in Nigeria, this thing is a very big factor.
Yeah. One thing I always say, now, for the common man to enjoy all of these issues now, is you see, most of the things would have to come through the state government. That is where the problem is actually coming from. Because, the federal government does not know the states. They don't know the local government. They don't know the, all these words. So it has to come through the state government to able to meet up to some of those things. But the problem lies with the state governors. And so it is affecting them. But it's all of these things that will be applied online. Probably there's going to be a random, selections, and then probably there will be something that will just, automatically bring out beneficiaries and all of those things to get. Because I know a lot of people who have gotten the 50,000 naira, even people from my village, local village, who have applied. It's something you can just use your phone or go to any of these places where they did the registration and they got this money, 50,000 naira. A lot of people, I know someone who bought fertilizer with the money, he got 50,000 naira and he was happy with it. So it's not enough. Government needs to do more. Secondly, there should be what we call price control. Because let me tell you, see, all of those things we're talking about, the inflation of price of, food items in the market, these are things that, are unnecessarily, or how do I even put it? It's something that was just brought in by people. All these marketers, how can you buy beans a measure of beans at the rate of 400 naira and today you're selling it 3,000 naira. Is that not wickedness? You understand? So sometimes it's not everything that would blame government, but of course we'll blame government because there's no price control. If there is price control, task force to ensure that all of those things are not, because obviously how much they are importing all of those things, and the government will be able to look at these issues and say, okay, you should not sell rice more than 700 naira. You should not sell maize more than 500 because they have done the feasibility study of the market. They understand all of those things. You understand, and it will be done based on the analysis of the market. So if those things were put in place, we will not be buying beans 3,000 naira today, and then we'll be crying that everything have goods have in the market.
So at the end of the day, the government is to blame.
Of course. Price control. Price control.
Is price control actually feasible in Nigeria?
It will be, of course.
How can the government achieve that?
That is what I'm saying. See, how does it relate to you that as a marketer, I went to the market to buy beans at the rate of 500 naira last year, and I hoarded it. I kept it in my warehouse, and today I'm selling it at. I don't understand. How can you be selling it at the rate of 3,000 naira? How? Which factor? I don't know if you understand my points very clearly on this issue. What's the reason why? Why would you do that? So if there was a price control to some of those things, government understands the market. That's why I said there will be a visibility study of the market. Understand what the market is all about.
Okay, I think we have one comment on live. From MC Leonard Man.
Okay.
Yeah. I disagree with your guest speaker. When we give the government time, we are giving them more time to continue stealing public funds.
All right.
Sounds like an opposition.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and MC Leonard Man, I think the lines are up. You can call.
You can call in. I really agree with what he said. But then we have to look at the situation. We have to, no matter how you like it, you must have to give time. Because, okay, the government came out to say, we understand your pains, but please, this is what we're able to do. This is what we're going to do. You understand? This is what we're able to do. This is what we are going to do. Please give us more time. Some of these policies that we have introduced and the ones we are introducing, at least give us 3 to 4 months where we hope that these things is going to start working out. If you don't see changes, you come back to the street and you tell the government that, see, these policies you say is going to work, is not going to work, is not working. You have to change your step. That is how it's been done. Anywhere you go to, that's how it's been done.
One could argue that Nigerian government, they don't listen to all this.
Why would they not listen to? Why would they not listen?
They don't listen to it.
So, okay, now, all these issues of the protest, what has changed? Even that people are out there in the streets protesting, what has it changed?
Government are beginning to implement some policies.
When?
Just like you mentioned.
When?
The government are implementing the policy of giving out 50,000, the student loans.
It even started when the issue of the protest started. That is why I said, maybe he didn't listen to me very well. I said I supported the protest, but it shouldn't take much time. 10 days is more than enough, actually. You can protest for 2-3 days. Government, have listened to, and then give more time to government to talk about
the idea was, let's start protesting. If government start listening to the demands and start responding,
we can suspend.
Yeah, because I've seen one protester say, we are out on the street now. We are about to start protesting. If government decide to address the issue of subsidy, everybody will start hailing the government and they will go back home.
Fact.
See, but let me tell you one thing.
That's almost an impossible thing to do, I know, for the government, but you can understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, he's making a point.
He's making a point, actually.
So
he's making a
say,
point. But you see, but the policies of government, people who are not in government might not really understand how government is run. You understand how government is run. even if just like Libby said something, we have exhausted our threshold for borrowing in the country. And then recently we had a supplementary budget. And this supplementary budget is going to grapple with the issue of the 70,000 minimum wage and, other infrastructure, development in the country and, a lot of things. How did Nigeria get that money from? Some of those things is from the money that is being saved in the subsidy issue and all of those things. But if Nigerians felt, okay, subsidy should come back, of course, government should bring back subsidy, but it will still require another supplementary budget. But can we be able to hold these things? That's the issue.
So this Leonard man.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Mr. Tuchku. I'm calling from Bauchi State.
MC Leonard man.
Yeah, the Leonard man.
Okay, the same person. Wow. Yeah. We're hoping for you to call in.
No.
So
I don't know if you people can hear me clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear. Go on.
In 3D.
Okay. George Gani, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
His name is Silas.
Okay, thank you very good morning, sir. Before I will move on to end my contribution on the end government protest.
End bad government.
End bad government.
Can I move on, sir?
Yeah,
Yes.
go on.
Okay, there are some things that are being said by this I want to correct.
Okay.
I still have to be corrected because no one is an island.
Yeah.
Okay, your guest made a statement. He said that all these protests people are doing, what are the benefits? So I want to put it to your guests that first, even before the protest, when the protest started on social media platform, we saw some benefits. It was because the politicians, the government are afraid for we to take it to the streets. Let me give you 3 benefits. 1, autonomous to local government. That was one of the benefits. It came out because of the intensity of the protest. 2, increment of minimum wages. Let me tell you the truth. You see the increment aspect of it. If not because of the protest, I'm very sure the president will not sign it. Then the third one.
But did you really follow what I said? I said all these things. Did you really hear me?
Make your point, sir.
I heard you, sir.
All right.
Make your point, sir.
Go on.
I heard you, sir.
Go on.
Okay. Then I think the third one here is let's come to the aspect of the Dangote issue. The refinery, the government refused to give Dangote. I think it was also part of what made people angry. I'm very sure the president announced recently that they can sell the coup to Dangote in never. Now let's go back to the end bad governance. And your guest also made a statement which I want to correct. He said that we should give the government time, that the government are introducing more policy, I mean to say. How long are we going to give the government time? This was what happened during the time of Buhari. I am telling you, I still stand to be corrected. If we continue using this mentality as Nigerians, that we should give the government time, I am telling you, anything next year, the president will not be concerned about the welfare of the citizens. His own ambition will be how 2027 will be. We can't give them time, but give them enough time. People are suffering. Okay, now we talked about time. How many months when they removed the subsidy? How many months did the president promise us before the price of fuel will go down? Now we are blocked by a year, and a president that just came into power, the first statement that came out from his mouth is the removal of subsidy. I think if we give them time, we are giving them more time to loot our funds. We are giving them more time to suffering. We are giving them more time to insecurity. We are giving them more time to kidnapping. The country, for me, the country is not working. There is nothing working in this country. So we need to speak. Let's go to Venezuela. Look at what is happening in Venezuela. You can make research on that. Those in Josh and the guest speakers, just make research on a slow journey to Venezuela. You compare them. This was what was happening in Nigeria.
Okay.
In fact, an article, they said that Venezuela, a country resembles Venezuela, which is Nigeria. This was how they started. removal of subsidy, politicians and the rest of them. Today, Venezuela is nothing to write home about. They have money, but the money is not useful. In fact, I think they are still on protest. One of the richest countries then, but today they are suffering. So it is time for we to stand up. You understand? So the essence of this end governance protest is a very, let me just read something now. Let me just cut short now. Let me end by saying this. I think the main reason I love this protest, it has induced a sense of belonging. It has induced a sense of fear into the government. They know that these people, it started as joke. It started as joke. If we continue keeping quiet, I am telling you, they will look at what the Senate president said. We should go out and protest. Why him? He will be at home eating. This is a public servant that is meant to serve us. So they don't care about us. When we continue giving them time, it's looting. I support this protest very well. I'm someone that support that enough is enough. We are giving the government more time.
Thank you very much.
If they want to do the right thing, they do. I think enough is enough.
Thank you, Mr. Tuchuku.
I was out on Monday. Everything I did not go. Said that during any protest, the two gas at us, and he affected my eye. That is the main reason I'm
sorry about
myself.
that.
So if we don't rise up, I am telling you, if we don't rise up, our children will ask us a question. Daddy, where were you when Nigeria was falling? What is the answer we are going to give to them? So I think that's my own contribution on this. The protest should go. The problem is that these talks that are planning to hijack the protest. That is just my problem. And if you check it very well, you will know that the hands of people that don't want the progress of this country are there. But giving the government time, sometimes they say silence is the best answer. But for Nigeria, silence is not the best answer. Actions speak louder than words. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Chuchuku.
Thank you very much, Auntie Leonard, man. You've spoken so well.
What's the contribution? We have less than 10 minutes to go. So, Silas, how do you respond? This guy has said a lot.
He has said a lot.
Mr. Silas, I also have a very quick question for you. React to what
we have.
I think MC Leonard Man did not really follow this discussion from the beginning, because everything he said, I said actually, and I said I supported the protest. Probably he didn't hear when I said
it. He took your statement of let's give the government time.
Government time. That's why he got that statement. But if he had listened to this conversation from the beginning, he would understand that I said I supported the protest because that is the only language government understands. I said this clearly. But I said, looking at what is happening, and then because of this protest, government have done this, and that. I even mentioned all of those things here, issued the importation of rice, nail phone, all of this 17 naira minimum wage. I mentioned all of them, which he also mentioned them. But I said, after this protest, since the government have been there, let's give it more time, because of course there are some policies that no matter how you protest it, no matter how you make it, it will not going to take effect at that point in time, because it's a long time policy. No matter how you do it, it must take time to yield some of those policies, and that is the basis where I'm saying giving government more time. When we say give government more time, we're not saying we should give them years or whatever. Of course, we can. How did people come about this protest? It was just a call, and then people came out. So if we give this government, okay, let's look at those things. We came out, we protest. Okay, let's go back. Since the government have started implementing some of those policies, they are bringing some of these policies. Okay, let's give them more time to give, like the more demands we give them, that will take more time. Okay, let's give them this little time. So we see how it's going to work. We see how they are going. If they are not going the way we want it to be, it's another call straight. Go back to the street. It's as simple as that.
Josh, what's your question?
Okay, quickly, politics is local. There is no way we'll have this conversation without talking about our local own politics. Their state. So I want to ask this question. And I believe our audience are anticipating to hear from you.
All right.
Quickly too. Because we are running out of time.
Okay. Looking at, you spoke about cost of governance. Looking at Bauchi, for example. Can you give us a small ride on the cost of governance in Bauchi State? And I think we have quite few complaints, especially from retirees and state government workers. the issue of benefits and
gratuity.
What would you say about that?
All right. Quickly, let me put out when this administration came in 2019, the debt owed retirees, that's the gratuity, was 29 billion naira.
Okay.
29 billion naira.
When Kara's administration came on board?
2019. Yes. Okay. He met, the debt of 29 billion naira as gratuities and, pension owed civil servants in the state. Now, looking at the paucity of resources, because, when you're doing governance, you have to split, the resources. You cannot just wake up one day and then base, resources on a particular place, because every sector needs to be touched. That is one of those problems. And so what the governor did at that point in time, from then to now, I think he had paid about 6 billion naira out of that amount.
We have 23?
Yes. And then he signed up with, the pension scheme. And then Bauchi will be included in the pension scheme, so that once you retire, your money will be given to you directly. You don't need to wait for all of these issues of government to pay you salary and your gratuity. Once you retire, you get your money and you go. And so they promised that they are going to give the government that money, and then they will be deducting from, as well as there's a way, government do all this PPP, all of those things. Yes, I think it's still on paperwork. Once it's materialized, it's going to pay off the issues of all these pensions and, gratuities. And then, talking about the cost of governance, if you check Daily Trust publication, I think 3 months back, Bauchi State government is one of the least taught states that, there's, less cost of governance. There's a statistic by the statisticians. It's a government, that gives statistics of spendings of government. Bauchi became third, and anybody who knows this government, they always accuse Kaura of not giving out money, because he said he doesn't have free money to give people who, just be giving money to people just like that. And so, no more convoy to Abuja again. The governor does not take convoys to Abuja again. He just take 1 or 2 people, go to Abuja by commercial plane and then come back to Bauchi, do his things and a lot of these things. So
he's cutting the cost of governance.
Cost of governance.
So has he done justice, Josh?
One could also argue that there was a time that the president actually gave out a particular
that was in the previous administration. That was the previous administration, not in this administration. So it was during the administration of Mohammed Abdullah Abubakar, where the Paris Club reformed, and then the bailout was given, and it was mainly given, to settle those, backloads of, gratuities. But along the way, nobody can tell what happens. It was not paid, and the money was nowhere to be found. I don't have to say who or what happens to the money, so I'm not in position to say that. But the thing is that it was not paid.
That's much time that we have. So quickly, Josh, your final words.
Final words is there is no Nigeria without us. So it's better we stand up and fight for our rights. I do not mean we should go and embezzle. We should go and loot. We should stand up peacefully and fight for our rights.
Okay, Silas.
All right. My words is to all Nigerians out there. It is time for us to take back our country and then ensure that everything goes well in governance. Just like Mr. MC Leonard had said, our children will actually ask us what we did in all of these things, but we need to understand how and the approaches we make in order to make our voice heard. And the time is actually now. So I believe that most of those things that are happening, the government will take into consideration, and then everything will move on well.
All right. Thank you very much. See you guys next time.
All right.
Cheers. Bye-bye.